like this with an episode that is so different from the first 5? If you...
Yeah, Man on the Street, that was written and directed by Joss, is what, as the pilot was, and then they bring in different directors and writers. But I think sort of the style, and I love the show. It's difficult because I think, as many people know, the show didn't ever get to quite be what we had envisioned or hoped. In the United States, there's a big difference between sort of, less so now, but when we were making Dollhouse, like the network type shows and how far you can go, how far you can push the envelope versus the cable shows. And people always say to me now, like, oh, Dollhouse would have still been on the air if it was a cable show. But with our first episode, we shot the pilot, and the studio asked us to reshoot the pilot, and Joss had sort of done it in this very noir way, and he gives the audience a lot of credit, I feel, oftentimes, and he doesn't make shows that are full of too much unnecessary exposition. He's always sort of like, believing in the audience. And so I think that the Man on the Street episode really was we thought, going to be helpful, because a lot of people, even that I know now, will say, I love Dollhouse, but like it was confusing for me, and sort of getting into it, you're sort of thrust into this world, and I didn't really know, it took me a while to like get into it, and Man on the Street really just sort of laid it out, and I liked the way it took the sort of everyman, and we put the camera on them and said, what is the Dollhouse to you? So that was...
Yeah, and asked a tough question about the themes, actually.
Yeah.
Donc effectivement, cet épisode 6, parce que, donc, vous savez, le premier pilote qui a été tourné, la Fox leur a demandé de refaire le pilote. Probablement, elle dit, parce qu'il avait fait de façon très noire, il avait peut-être fait confiance beaucoup au public, et donc du coup pas tout expliqué de la façon dont le network le souhaitait. Et donc effectivement, ils ont dû revenir en arrière et refaire le pilote. Et elle dit souvent, c'est probablement lié aux grandes chaînes, parce que souvent on lui dit, si ça avait été sur le câble, la série aurait probablement pu survivre, parce que ses thématiques et son contenu et son style étaient peut-être un peu trop sophistiqués pour ce que voulait faire une grande chaîne à l'époque. C'est peut-être pas la même chose aujourd'hui. Et donc effectivement, cet épisode 6, donc vous voyez lequel c'est, l'épisode 6, Man on the Street? C'est un épisode qui commence avec des gens, les Man on the Street, c'est les micro-trottoirs. Et donc c'est celui où il y a plein de micro-trottoirs, où il y a plein de gens dans la rue qui parlent de ce qu'ils pensent de la Dollhouse. Et je lui disais, c'est aussi l'épisode où on pose les questions difficiles. Quelqu'un dit, mais c'est de l'esclavage, quelqu'un d'autre dit, oh ben non, c'est fun, pourquoi pas. Il y a vraiment quelque chose, c'est comme si tout d'un coup, la série osait aller droit au but.
And I got to dress up like a ninja and kick Ballard's ass in a Chinese food restaurant kitchen, so that was fun.
Et en plus, elle a pu s'habiller en ninja et tabasser Ballard dans la cuisine d'un restaurant chinois, et ça, c'était vraiment fun. C'est aussi l'épisode où la question sous-jacente de l'exploitation, et notamment du viol, est posée, parce qu'à travers le personnage de Sierra, et la vengeance vis-à-vis de son prédateur, où ils font tuer son handler par une autre des Dolls, si vous vous rappelez, November. Je suis désolée pour ceux à qui j'ai spoilé, vous devez regarder cet épisode. Et du coup, il y a quelque chose de très osé qui fait peut-être peur, et je vais lui demander si ça leur faisait peur de parler de ça. This episode also broaches the idea, well, there's this underlying idea of exploitation and exploitation of people and slavery, but that episode also touched upon rape, because Sierra, turns out, is a victim from her handler, and it ends up with the boss lady making one doll kill him. So it's like, was it scary to think that the show was going there in such a violent way at the time? Like, was it more like you were excited about the creativeness and the daring, or was it maybe a little scary to just talk about such difficult
No,
issues?
again, I think that from the get-go, that was sort of where Joss and I wanted to go with the show, and it took, we're talking about, we pitched the show, we talked about all these themes that we wanted to explore, and the studio said, we love it, yes, it's perfect, we're gonna pair you up with the show 24, the Kiefer Sutherland show, we're gonna have you following 24, And so we were all excited, thinking, oh, this is great, the studio is behind everything. And then, like a month before we were supposed to premiere, we got a phone call from Fox going, oh my God, we just realized this is a show about human trafficking and we're terrified. And we were like, you just realized that? So they panicked and they put us on Friday nights at 8 o'clock, which is also known as the death slot in network television. And it was really discouraging because up until that point, we thought we were all in sync about the themes of the show. And so, again, then they also sort of pulled us back as far as the themes that we were exploring. But by the time we got to Man on the Street, Joss was really adamant. Like, no, this is what we're getting deep and gnarly. And that's what we set out to do. This isn't just supposed to be all like fun and dancing to Lady Gaga and short skirts. Like, we want to get real.
Donc, en fait, non, ça faisait pas peur. Ça faisait peur de toucher à un truc aussi sensible. Non, c'est ce qu'il voulait faire depuis le début. Et elle dit, et dès le départ,